Okay, so I had to do another video. I just had because things are so crazy. I wonder if we're asking the question, how did we get here? By the way, I'm not going to talk about the coronavirus. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But I am going to talk about Donald Trump, and I'm going to talk about Obama. I'm going to talk about the people who are really in charge, and it's not our presidents. We're going to now bail out the same individuals that we bailed out in 2007, 2008, and 2009. Yep. So basically, our tax money goes to making sure that all of their problems and their mistakes and their basically addiction to gambling is all paid for by the taxpayer. But we didn't get a penny of it back. All of their profits, all of the banksters and the hedge funds and the airline companies and the car companies, no, they all get bailed out with taxpayer dollars. So we all go into debt and our children go into debt. And then all of their profits go in their pockets. This is called a scam. That's what this is called. And now the airline industry is going to get bailed out again. And they spent the bulk of their money just buying back their own shares to make themselves rich, just like most of the other companies did. I just don't get it. I don't understand. I thought Trump was different. I've been telling you, I've been telling you over and over again. Hey, I give him accolades when he's right, but to be honest with you, he's no different than Obama. Weren't we all upset and frustrated and venting back in 2009 about bailing out the Wall Street banksters? I don't understand. But I'm sure that all the Republicans are going to be just completely silent because Trump's a good businessman and he's for freedom, he's for liberty. Oh yeah, okay. Well, those who actually were in the know and understood what was going on, that there is a group of global bankers. You can read the books that are actually controlling the whole scenario. And unfortunately, Ezra Taft Benson has told us to read these books. So many people have told us to read these books, and we refuse. Instead, we decide to gobble up all of the garbage in the media as truth, and it's just absolute garbage. It's really sad that we've gone down this rabbit hole, and now we're all expecting to get our little bonuses from our leaders, from our rulers. Please send me the stimulus check. I need it. Why don't we have cash on hand? I thought we were a self reliant people. Isn't that what America is supposed to be about? Self reliance? Being responsible for ourselves? Not cowering and kissing the boots of our rulers and leaders? But that's exactly what we've become. We're just 100% dependent. I don't understand how this is okay. It's worse than what Obama did. Trump's going right down the same rabbit hole. All the power is going to the centralized government, and all of our liberties are getting stripped from us. But we'll get a little paper in the mail. By the way, it's worthless. I don't understand if you realize that. The it's just digits on a computer. It doesn't mean any. The Federal Reserve makes it out of thin air. It didn't exist before. Back in the last crisis, the recession, Obama and all of our leaders, including Republicans, just opened up the door for the Federal Reserve to bail out all the banksters. They were spending $125 billion a month, the Federal Reserve, in the last crisis. They're spending $125 billion a day. Do you understand? $125 billion a day now, not a month, a day. And we're all clapping our hands waiting for our welfare check. That's what's going on. So they're going to bail out the criminals like they usually do, all of their friends and all of their lobbyists, right? And pretend like they actually care about us and they care about our families. And then they'll print just funny money and they'll send it to our homes so that we can go use it to help ourselves during this crisis. So they'll give us pennies while they steal all of our money. And we'll be indebted forever. There is only one way out of this, by the way, and it's a total collapse. You cannot spend indefinitely. And so many have warned during the last crisis that this is what you get. So it's just so funny that the Federal Reserve is doing the exact same thing that they did last time. They're going to be buying what? By the way, they're going to be buying actual goods, okay? Actual assets, because the banks, they're not liquid. They don't have enough money. Everything's freezing up. They're just spending into oblivion because they're just trying to get the money flowing again. And these banks need money so bad, they're doing the exact same thing they did during the last crisis. They're selling their mortgages. Yeah, your mortgage, my mortgage, our homes. Now the Federal Reserve will own those. They'll own assets on companies. Just think about that for a second, seriously. But I thought Trump was better. I thought he was for freedom and liberty. No, this is a facade. This is a fake facade. I don't know what's going on with Trump, but this has been pretty normal for Trump. He does a little bit of good, just like previous presidents, that shows you that he cares about the people and he wants to get rid of the rat's nest up in Washington, D.C., and then he joins them. He's no different. You're being sold garbage. You're being enslaved and your liberties are being stripped from you right before your very eyes, and we're all excited we're going to get a little check. So if we're supposed to be prepared and have money and food and water and gas on hand, be prepared. But these airline companies shouldn't be prepared. And the banksters, they don't need to be prepared. Why? Because the Federal Reserve bails them out. They're too big to fail. Me and you can fail. We're just insignificant. But these big banksters, these criminals on Wall Street, and that's what they are. They're criminals. Jamie Dimon and all of these losers. There's been an enormous amount of CEOs that have resigned or left their jobs in January of this year. They knew this was all coming. Yeah, they're gonna take all of their benefits and all of their stocks and sell them and become rich. Heck, our representatives are selling their stocks before the crisis even hit so that they can make sure that they make money. Just follow the money, honestly, and it all leads back to the UN, to the World Health Organization, the WHO. These organizations are evil. You can read about them and how they even came into existence. It's through the Rothschilds, the Vanderbilts, the Carnegies, those who own the global banks, control the UN. I mean, seriously, so many people have been talking about this. It didn't just happen out of nowhere. And now they're literally they're baking a birthday cake right now for us. Yeah, they're celebrating right now as we go through the world goes through this crisis. Oh yeah, it's all set up. If you think that they don't know what they're doing, that they're really here to help us, these world global organizations, you are crazy. Do you know the CDC's background? Honestly, do you know their history? How they tested on blacks early in our country? They purposely gave them syphilis so they could study blacks in our country secretly. They don't report their findings. They're constantly manipulating the truth about diseases, vaccines, all kinds of stuff. But we can trust them this time, just like we could trust the government when they were purposely detonating atomic bombs and having those radioactive particles float over into southern Utah to see what it would do to U.S. citizens. Yeah, it killed them is what it did. They died terrible deaths. But we've completely forgotten. We're back to being totally reliant on the U.S. government. And none of this would have happened if the Federal Reserve had just let the market do what the market does. When you don't know how to operate a business and you fail, you deserve to go out of business. It's literally that simple. It's not complicated. You deserve to have all of your assets liquidated and brought back into the marketplace where others basically buy those assets and actually do some good with it. Your job is not to stay afloat just because we can continue to play this game. This game ends with basically all the central banks are going to go down, by the way. If you haven't realized that, all the central banks around the world, which are all controlled by the same families, this is legit, it's true. Please stop it with this is a conspiracy theory. That's just because you don't want to think and you don't want to do your homework. It's absolutely true. They're all controlled by the same individuals. They're all going to go down. They all are completely, well, they're getting capitalized now, but before they weren't capitalized. They're getting capitalized now because all they have to do is start up a printing press of money that never existed before, which they didn't have to do any work to create that money whatsoever except turn on a machine. And yet they get to buy real assets. They get to steal what we worked so hard for. It takes hard work to build a house and a car and airplanes and buildings, right? And sewer systems. They're going to grab all those assets for nothing right before your very eyes. And yet Trump doesn't say a thing because he's either oblivious or he's part of the problem. I'm going to guess he's part of the problem and he's oblivious. He's kind of both, it seems like to me. I think he's more worried about his legacy and being reelected, really, to be honest with you, than he cares about us and our families. We're being stripped blind, just like we were in the last crisis. This is all just happening all over again, and we've completely forgotten. So I'm just letting you know, be prepared. Now they're banning cash, you can't go anywhere. I said I wasn't going to talk about the coronavirus, but I lied. Yeah, you can't go anywhere with cash. Because you're going to spread the virus. I'll hand my credit card out to someone and they'll take it from my filthy hands, just like they took it from someone else, and they'll run that credit card. But cash is awful. Cash will definitely spread the disease because the coronavirus doesn't live on credit cards. Yeah. Or maybe it's because it's hard to control cash, but it's really easy to control people's credit cards. This is where they're going, by the way. If you would just read None Dare Call It Conspiracy by Gary Allen, which is the book Ezra Taft Benson told members of the church to read. But most of us refuse to read it because it's just a conspiracy theory, and that was then and this is now. It takes years. These people are patient. These secret combinations. These are the same individuals that traffic little children to have sex all around the world. What? You don't hear about Epstein anymore? How come? Why doesn't Trump talk about Epstein? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. There's so many things that have happened in his administration. He never talks about it. He's not going to tell you the real reason of why this virus has started in Wuhan. We're probably never going to hear about it until it suits their interests. We're just pawns in their game, and we just continue to allow them to abuse us. That's what really frustrates me. So get ready. They've got everything ready to continue to strip our liberties and freedoms and centralize all the power in the top part of the government. And eventually the UN, which is what Obama wanted to do, is going to step in and they will be controlling everyone. Eventually the currency is going to collapse because you can't keep spending money into an oblivion. And then guess what? Who's left? The International Monetary Fund, the IMF. It's not just in movies, people. They're real. They're the only ones that can actually back up all of the currencies in the world. And guess what? They've been preparing. They're ready to do it. Just wait. This is just the beginning. We need to wake up. And we need to stop with the fear. We need to be smart about it, but we need to stop with the fear and not allow our governments to centralize all of their power within themselves. It's so dangerous now, what they're doing. They track everything. They spy on you every single day. How come Trump didn't get rid of the Patriot Act? I don't understand. And Assange. Julian Assange. I don't get it. Trump helped him go to prison. And yet Trump talked about how WikiLeaks was always talking about how corrupt the Democrat Party was. Well, maybe the Republican Party is corrupt too. Maybe that's why he helped him go to prison. I don't understand it. But Trump is such a good man because he loves America. He's going to make it great again. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. The elites, the secret combinations, they're in everything. They're in the banking sector, which is really the most critical. They're in the banking system, in government, which is also extremely critical. But if we're not financially able to survive, who cares? I mean, we're basically we're prey. We're prey for them at that point. We don't have sound money. None of our money is based off of any type of sound, gold, silver, anything. No, it just gets printed into oblivion. They're expecting to print the Federal Reserve up to, they say, 10 to 20 trillion dollars to get out of this crisis, this financial crisis, which was caused by a coronavirus and which we still know hardly anything about. Yep. $20 trillion. Let me see. America's in debt right now, what, $23 trillion? And that took what? Let me see. The Federal Reserve started in 1913, was it? Oh, it took a long time to get to $23 trillion in debt, but we're going to spend 10 to 20 trillion just to get out of the crisis. Okay, it's time to wake up. I don't know what else to say. I've been trying to warn, so many people have been trying to warn that this day was coming, that you can't ignore the laws of nature. It eventually, when you stretch the rubber band, it snaps back. We're in snapback mode, and it's time to just take our bitter pill, accept the consequences, and move on. Yes, people are going to go bankrupt. Cars are going to be repossessed. Oh my gosh. It's been like this for years. There is like millions of cars that are car loans that are delinquent, that are 90 days or behind. This didn't just happen. Like 3 years ago, there were millions of U.S. Families that were getting their cars put into delinquency and repossessed. They just don't tell you about this because they don't want you to know. You're just a little peon. You don't need to know these things. They're going to wipe your bottom and take care of you. So just be happy with your little welfare check while they bail out all of the criminals. That's what's going on. I know it because it's like, you need to be positive during this time. You need to wake up. You need to wake up to what is really going on, because if you really want your children to be free, which I do, it's time to say no, enough's enough. Stop printing money. Stop impoverishing us. Impoverishing us. I can't speak today. The more they print, the less our dollars are worth. It's simple inflation. Yes, we are going through a collapse right now, a deflationary period. After they're done printing all their funny money, we'll most likely go through an inflationary spike. And then the UN will come in, which these people have talked about it. They've written books about it. We just don't want to read. We want to sit down and watch our Netflix and eat our popcorn. I know this is uncomfortable. I know it makes people anxious. This has been years, decades in the making. And here it is. They're pulling the trigger again. And all that people can do is call others conspiracy theorists. Well, if I'm a conspiracy theorist, then Ezra Taft Benson, a prophet and at the time an apostle of the church who told members to read the None Dare Call It Conspiracy book, he must be a conspiracy theorist too. The Book of Mormon, which is scripture, must be a conspiracy also. It talks about the same individuals, just during a different time. But we don't want to listen. We want to live in our dream world. This is what we get. And the Matrix is about ready to collapse right now, just so you know. Eventually, you will see the truth, but by the time you see the truth, it'll be too late. You've got to stand up for principles, not personalities, not individuals, principles and freedoms and liberties. We can be a strong people again if we just stand. But if we cower and don't hold our representatives accountable, we're just going to get ramrodded. But they'll do it very kindly while they whisper sweet nothings in our ear. Mitt Romney and the whole bunch of them. That is the truth. I pray for our nation on a daily basis, but this is what we have to look forward to. I apologize, the video is so long. There is so much to talk about, but if we really want to protect our families, it's time to make a stand, men. It's time to make a stand. for those who are less vulnerable. Not the facade of saying, yeah, we're going to steal your money to spend it on charitable organizations that we deem to be worthy, like Planned Parenthood. We're going to kill millions of unborn children with taxpayer money. If you want to kill your child, use your own money. Don't use my money. That's not principle. This is what I'm talking about. You can't live like Rome and Greece used to live before they collapsed and expect not to collapse. You need to get down on your knees. And I hate to go religious here, but it's the truth. You got to get down on your knees and literally change, repent, make some changes that you need to make. Remember that you and your welfare checks and your government subsidies are not the most important thing on the face of the earth. True freedom, true liberty is the most important thing. And once it's lost, it's gone. It's going to take a lot of blood to get it back. That's where we're headed. That's the truth. I'm sorry, but I'm telling you the truth. 20 minutes. This video is now 21 minutes long, so I've got to shut up.